This is a 1,170 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. I'd like to sponsor upcoming Shir more Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please contact me directly. It'd be greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Yoredea Simon Kuft Zvav Seif Yutes Chafei. Of course, we're still in Sugi of Chal B'Yisrael. Yutes. Chasar ben Rambam. Nima Yisrael Roya Asiyas Agvinos V'Chaliva Mutar. If the Jew ceases making the cheese and the milking, it's mutter. And this is widespread custom in all these countries. You saw them making the cheese, not the milking. You can permit it, but we're not concerned that you might have put some tummy in it. Since it's made cheese from the milk. Because milk, which is from a trafe animal, does not solidify. So certainly the non-Jew would not have mixed it in because he had a mind to make the cheese. Also unless you can't eat the milk that way, which I spoke out yesterday without noticing that it was on Ramah himself. The Arukh HaShulchan bring down the Ramah himself later on. Beard var. Meaning, if the Jews saw the making of the cheese and the milking, the widespread custom is being permitted. Has to specifically help out making the cheese. Like bread by bread and vegetables. We don't find that parameter in this Gezerah in the Gemara. There are Achronim who reject the Ramah. The Begavinos ain't Yisrael. By cheese, there's no permissibility. Only if the Jew helps us in making the cheese. So even if the rennet is kosher and everything else is kosher, a Jew has to participate in the process. They also reject what he said. That was made where they didn't see the milking. Came on a Rambam. Since we don't like the Rambam, after Hamidu Basavim, even you today's kosher rennet. Also, we should go plug it because we don't differentiate. So too, the same thing with the milking. That's a task. But many of the Golim rejected the Taz's opinion. They sustained Ramah on these two halachas. That's what that is our psak. He brings down the brackets of this from the Yehuda, it's Yaakov and Pitar. And Ramah's approach is explicit in Rambam. So too when we see that the non-Jew solidified the milk with the piece of the intestine itself, without to eat it. The pure shabam, the piece of intestine in itself, it's just the refuse. And that which he brought, that the cheese should not become awesome, Israel because Shimi also comes as a cause of Chalav Akum. She Shatam is to second initially say Chalav Tmeim also Chalav. The reason for this prohibition is that it shouldn't have the non-kosher milk mixed up with kosher milk. And the non-kosher milk cannot solidify. The Ram himself obviously permitted this. It's not like using kosher rennet. So assume that they forbade because of low plug. Because not there's distinctions in the process. I can't know that's true. Avakos, but nobody else saw that's why the Jew doesn't see it. But if a Jew sees it, they did not make a decree against this. The assistance of Jews is only necessary by bread and cooked vegetables. That's the other day which are made by fire. In this case, we now found that a Jew has to actually participate. Has to is watch it. It's interesting. I have a Talmud who worked many times for the OU in a cheese plant in Buffalo, and on weekdays the mashgiach does. This is tray plant, so it runs on Shabbos and Yom Tov, but it's the cheese is kosher. I shouldn't say it's tray plant. It's a non-Jewish plant, so it runs also on Shabbos and Yom Tov. I guess mostly Yom Tov is the issue. Shabbos maybe not. But they produce kosher cheese. It's interesting because it's not cheese which goes to market; it's cheese which goes to commercial products. But in any event, so on weekdays he would put in the rennet, it was artificial rennet. He poured it himself on Yontif, he would watch while the non-Jew poured in the remnants. So this is mamish the case of the Aruch HaShulchan. Now here's long brackets. That which by milk it says the Jew doesn't see him. And by cheese it doesn't specify that a Jew doesn't see it. Because by cheese it's preferable to also see the milking. With this we resolve a question from the Shach. Whatever the Shach says, it's not inferable from the language of the Mishnah. Haraya should be into his Maimoni, will be brought from there. Shakasu writes, Marisi the Kakvina Safira Acholab, Vishabach Asa. I never saw anybody allowed buying cheese, even if we saw the milk from the time it was milked until he made the cheese, etc. There the problem is the intestines, and which the stomach, the intestines. That was the primary issue there. Even though he says you have to do actual be active in the making of cheese. We don't see that the Maram Ruberg Shita is sustained by the poskim. However, it sounds like the exact opposite though. Seeing is enough. The there's a variation from the language in front of us. The Nuskha there should be a Ram the Rudenberg Sham and the version brought in Maram Rudenberg by aggressive continue down Pasuk La Shach. Like the Shach, which is that's mutter to use cheese even in see the milking. It's preferable. Like we just said about buffalo. So I guess you know what? The Gra Paskins that you don't have to actually forget about the milking. The Gra Paskins that you can just watch. You don't actually have to put the rennet in. And now he says, when it comes to the practice, it's preferable to be machmir. That you should put the milk into the intestine, if that's the way they're doing it, or into the pot, if they're putting a piece of intestine in the pot. If you have an aimless sort, if you have it's not ulcer, as long as the Jew watches. Came a shova agdoim miskim le'ater. Most goyim agreed that it should be mutter. First came by Rambam, and it's consistent with Rambam viduk. Chaf al chema lo goes with chazal butter. Chazal, by the way, first yakasha heter. Yekas does not require cheese to be chol Yisrael. Second yakasha heter. Yekas don't require butter to be chol Yisrael, and that's this one. Achema lo goes with chazal. Though he's accused by Gemara, they didn't mention the Gemara. Tam pashu is the sympathy. Shchol lasos chema. When you milk in order to make butter, lo yebel chol tell me not going to put treif milk in. They know what I mean. It doesn't solidify. And here, there's none of the issues which apply to cheeses apply here. There is no chemical process of solidifying. Shows our cable, which requires the skin of the intestine. You don't have to smooth it with lard. It's polish it with lard. Nothing concerned about trade milk among the holes. There is no holes, no cavities or crevasses in the butter. Because it's all one solid block. Besides this came to Kim since not trying to mind to make butter. Why would he put in trade milk? So therefore, the whole issue is okay, maybe they're gonna make the cheese themselves. The butter themselves from their own milk. That's also not a problem. They're not going to put straight milk in it. And that seems to be primary halacha. That butter does not be chol b'Yisrael. Chaval. Mikom kam Rama because of Sham Neves Ram writes there v'zel shoyno. Hachem Hashem mixas are going to eat their butter. Some of the going from it. Shelo goes lachema. They make a decree on butter. V'chol v'atmei ain't homemade. And the milk from a treif animal doesn't congeal. Mixas are in a masua. Some going to maaser. Neitzik tuchei galav shisharba because of traces of milk which will remain in it. Shekum shebachema ino muravi machema. The part which makes a membrane, but there's a better word for it. Um, I don't know. The word's not going to me, but like there's like a membrane which forms on the top of um, the top of the milk with cream. Okay, anywhere not with the butter. It's not mixed in. It, I guess it's not mixed in enough that it shouldn't be butter. But nevertheless, any milk from them, we assume has man of choice milk. Really, it seems to if you took butter from the non-Jew, if you cook them until you removed all the vestiges of milk, because even they're cooked together, but they're butter as a minority. But they cook butter, not milk. They cook butter. Um, if they cook butter, also mishum giluim, it's also because of bishul akum, or because of the secretions of their pots. All that is quote from the Rambam. Bir dvar. He means to say that this is base. Bir dvar. Going hosting the going will forbid this relay lam. You know, sort of zoo. Don't say this way. That since non-Jew had a mind to make butter, lawyer Arba Chol is not going to put in straight milk. Do I make it in maybe perhaps initially he milked the animal in order to sell the milk. Then he changed his mind to make the butter. And because say Rabba Chol before they mixed in the trade milk. Rabba Chol Chema is kumtas. There in all butter there's a little bit of this membrane. The hainu nishma mena kamaim. No, I was wrong. Kum is not the membrane. Kum is like the watery part of the butter. Sorry about that. I think the kum. I think the kum is whey. I think the kum is whey. Let's see. Kind of out of my league here. Whey is translated as Hebrews me gvina, and the kum is defined as me cholav. So I'm not sure exactly what the differences are. So it's not a membrane; it's some sort of liquid. Okay, so he says here that there's a little bit of this milk, mei cholav, watery milk or milky water. Which pours off the butter like water. When this is independent. Therefore it's not negated by the butter. We're concerned about this kum that maybe it is treif milk. The beetle ain't no election is bad because beetle only applies when isser and heter mixed together. Maybe the atzu, not where the isser is by itself, because the heter is going to become butter, and this could be the isser. Bikasha, that's a case. And if you're going to ask, just pour off the mei cholav. Left is butter. It's really you have to say the Rama holds the aim can't completely remove that mei cholav. The those are going to be something left. The Rama says that feel the brain in the bashel sachema yetzekum legamrei. Even according to what they say, if we cook the butter, then the kum will come out completely. Because the power of fire will remove it altogether. Wait, maybe through the fire, the kum will get absorbed into the butter. He says, no, that's not concerned. Okay, the came with labo, once it gets absorbed, it's going to be nullified. So I was 16 the butter relative to the kum. But the whole issue is because when the kum stands by on its own. Touching blabo now gets absorbing it, I raise pasta to be nullified. The dad is because the Rambam and the Shabishu is then that which Rambam said, it's also because Giuliakum from Shumakim Shlem. And that's which is the account of the Kim. Look at the Kim, we don't know that way. The Shutas, so Shazalzin Kufia base. he goes according to his opinion that he wrote the Los Dilayas Kankim Neoma. He doesn't hold that by default Kalim are not used within the past 24 hours. We do all the way. And Gam Chema Shibishlu Hey Mutter Bachil, therefore also butter, which is cooked, is mutter to eat. Butter which is cooked by them. And not Jews is mutter to eat. Chav Gimel. Vatura Achar Shebi Divya Raman, Torah brought the words Raman Kosis Zelshoni writes as follows. For Rashba Asura Afla Chabishlu Rashba Asas even after cooking. For Rabbi Peter Parents, the Til eligible to be allowed without cooking. But he has no clear-cut reason to answer. But some people evidently took on the custom to prohibit it. That's why he didn't protest those people who were lenient. And most of the people are conduct servants. So the person not deviated that outcome was shown a tour and quote from the tour. Chavdal, the name Tamosh Rabbeinu Peretz Pashadu. Rabbeinu Peretz's reason is simple. The Remes aim is Shum Chashash Masan. There's really no concern. It's going to be straight milk there. It's the non-Jordan mind to make butter. Why should he mix straight milk in there? We're not concerned that maybe initially planted it sells milk. Why would he take such remote suspicions? And this is which that and this was that for this Rabban. Vafka Misa the Rabban, I know. Truth is not even Mr. Rabban. Show man's locals will come. There's no decree on butter. Vagam Shasmago Heavy Bishim Yusham is here come to the Shabbos. Should be told Zeus Yuchas Dover Kosu Gam Chemishlan. It means that a version that they also included butter. Because we had so much issue Shami Shane Kosu Sham Chema. There's Yushami, which the butter is not written. They have Chol Yushami, don't sell Chema Klab Shumakum. Don't buy butter at all on Yushami. Also, the Bible doesn't say anything about the cream against butter. Lesser, and the reason why the Rosh says he doesn't know reason to ask it, it's because it was no Xera. Rash follows his reasoning that these prohibitions will not go after Shishim because it's a chassidus, but sometimes it seems to have swav. But it's also shares chashash shem maybe he initially milked it to sell it. Piece of shebashla, and therefore when he sold it, cooked it, made cholov got mixed up in the butter. Butter. So then it came with shade of butter bashishim. It's not butter bashishim. I just realized it can be. There's no whey in butter. We whey in cheese. Obviously, kum is not whey. Verily, a few Rashba. It seems to me even the Rashba is by this problem is only by a non-Jew who sells a small amount of butter. Revamped it from his own animal. And clearly initially didn't have a mind to make butter. Courts of noblemen shall see make much butter. All the animals they have are liable to be the source of the butter. There's no concern of a mixture of non-kosher milk. The bracket says here, goes my name Perak where there's concern of Nasiube the Chalba, which is the kum, and 4 days and 4 days it dries. Then it's mutter. And by butter there's no holes. Wherever they don't mix in. Mutter mili. When the Savi goes leniently, okay, Kavches. What I'm saying about the Shulchan Aruch, we'll see Gimel Kasu, they wrote Zel Shonim. They write, the Cholim butter, the non-Jew, don't protest because people who are lenient. Most of the people there conduct themselves stringently, and shouldn't deviate. There is no custom in Bishlat Shalchut If you cooked it so all the mecholav is gone, with teretz it's permitted. Also have to deliberately cook it so that these traces of milk should be eliminated. If a non-Jew cooked it, it's also mutter. Stan claim Edom Neoma, because we assume that their vessels are not within 24 hours. Zeshem with the bash that you're allowed to cook it ain't some kibbata is It's not like nullifying an Isser deliberately. Shem ain't got Isser Klam. Maybe there's no Isser whatsoever. Flo ain't come Rosa Batla. So I said that's not might be Batal Isser. Ela Shielchula Ksuche Kola, but rather that the traces of milk should go away. It's a shock name, but it says it. My Enakaban Batal Isser Meheter. So its intent is not to nullify the Isser by the Heter. We had this before. It's to eliminate the Isser through the fire. The Isser should be burnt out. And perhaps then nothing Isser will remain. And the Bible says, with this we answer Kash of the Taz. I don't know what Kash of the Taz is, so, oh well.